Now, another important area where Congress is working to provide relief is Obamacare. In election after election, the American people have called for an end to Obamacare. In the last election, they made their voices clear one more time. They elected a president and a Congress dedicated to bringing relief from this partisan law. And we're determined to do right by our constituents by doing just that. Nearly 7 years after being signed into law, I continue to hear from Kentuckians who aren't sure how they can continue to manage under Obamacare's broken promises. Take this Kentuckian from Moorhead who wrote my office earlier this year. Prior to Obamacare, he says, I had a manageable monthly health care premium that had enough coverage for myself with a reasonable deductible. Since Obamacare has been enforced, or should I say forced upon the American people, my premiums have increased each year significantly. Now, under Obamacare, this Kentuckian says keeping his same coverage for 2017 means facing a 300% increase in his premium as compared to the plan he had before the broken law was implemented. The general cost of health care has skyrocketed, he writes, and as a result, small business owners and the working middle class are suffering. Unfortunately, his story is like so many others all across the country. Americans were promised costs would go down. Americans would promise choice would go up. Americans were promised they could keep their health care plans. None of that was true, Mr. President, not a single one of those things. Americans need relief. They deserve a new direction. That's why we're taking action to repeal and replace Obamacare with health care solutions that can actually work for the American people. As our efforts to move beyond Obamacare continue, senators came together last week for another important conversation on the way forward when it comes to our nation's health care policies. I also had the opportunity to visit the White House and discuss the ways in which the administration and Congress can continue working together to bring relief from Obamacare. The House will keep working this week as well to move forward with legislation that, under a new president who will actually sign it, can finally help us pursue smaller, smarter health care solutions in place of this failed partisan experiment. We know the task before us is daunting, but of course, it is just as necessary. So I want to thank the Speaker for his continued leadership on this issue, along with each of our colleagues who have been working literally around the clock on repeal and replace efforts. Let's keep working this week so that we can bring Americans much-needed relief from Obamacare as soon as possible.